So I mentioned the situation with e-scooters. You may have heard the report. We had someone on the news a couple of days ago talking about this, which came as news to me. When I say news, but perhaps not a surprise. People on e-scooters, you've probably seen them. There are more and more of them in the city all the time, and they turn out to be pretty dangerous, at least as far as kids are concerned, and teenagers as well. Liane Fransblow is a trauma coordinator at the Montreal Children's Hospital Injury Prevention Program and is on the line. Thanks so much for being here this afternoon.
Thank you.
I heard, I guess it was Dr. Friedman at the Children's talking about how serious this has gotten. People don't think of these things really, it seems to me, as very dangerous. And I know there's a pilot program that just come to an end. Where are we on this? And given the fact that we're seeing these injuries and more of them, and apparently some of them quite serious, what's going to happen next year? What is the suggestion as to what should happen next?
So the pilot project, from my understanding, ends in July. It started July 3 years ago, so I believe it ends mid-July.
Okay.
In terms of what's happening next, from our perspective, we don't really know. So this was a pilot project from the government. They never came to us for our data, so we haven't spoken to them yet. We want to be involved with the government to look at what the best way to implement improved measures going forwards. Currently, the pilot project had things like a minimum age, speed limits, where they can be ridden, helmets were mandatory, but the laws didn't seem to be enforced, and I think there was a lack of awareness. So you weren't supposed to be under 14. At our center, which is a pediatric center, 60% of our cases were under the age of 14.
Wow.
You're supposed to be wearing a helmet. About 50% of our cases aren't wearing helmets. I know in the adult sites, it's at least 50%, if not less, that are wearing helmets. So it doesn't seem to be that people are wearing helmets. And just anecdotally, if you drive around, how many times are you driving 30 or 40 and an e-scooter goes past you? So they're obviously going faster than 25 kilometers an hour. They're not supposed to be impaired, not supposed to have kind of earphones or anything, not supposed to be using their telephones, all these kind of things. We see it anecdotally, so I don't know what's going on. That is it not being enforced? We don't really know how to improve on that case, but we definitely have seen year to year since the pilot project started a significant increase. This year, the summer has barely even started, and we've already had almost half of the amount of cases we had all year last year.
So to what you're just saying, for people hearing this, okay, we get it, they're not wearing helmets, they should be. One could say the same thing about bikes. I guess the idea or the difference might be that people on bikes tend to be older, maybe they're a bit more responsible, I don't know. But is the suggestion that you could just get on, I don't know the laws on this, can you just get on a scooter and you said some of these people are going 30, 40K an hour and speeding by you? The law says they are not supposed to go that fast, but they do anyway. Do you know how that works?
Well, the scooters can go, I think they can go up to 60 kilometers an hour even. They go quite fast. And yes, you can just buy one in the store. There's no limitations on who can buy them. There's even ones that are available in the Canadian market, marketed to children. Those are legally available to buy in Canada. I think it's a larger problem than just a Montreal problem or a Quebec problem, because those types of regulations would have to come down from Transport Canada. There has to be national guidelines saying what is allowed and what's not allowed in terms of this, in terms of selling these devices. I know this is an issue across the country. BC came out with a press alert the same day that we did. So it is not just a Montreal issue. It's a big problem. People think they're toys. And the difference between bikes and e-scooters is the speed. When you go that fast, if you fall off a bike, you can get seriously injured, absolutely. But if you're going so much faster, the injury is going to be that much worse.
What sort of injuries are you seeing? Are we talking about, scraped knees, broken bones?
So a little bit of everything. We definitely see some people with just some lacerations, some scraped knees, some broken bones. But the concern is when they have head injuries. And the way they typically fall, it's not typically a motor vehicle collision. So we do see cases where it's car versus scooter, but often it's a lack of control, or even just it gets caught in a rut. Our roads are not meant for small wheels. We have so many potholes, and then you go forward. So you're driving forwards, you're going at 60 kilometers an hour, the wheel gets stuck, your body goes over the scooter, and Newton's, I think it's his first law of motion, an object in motion continues at motion at the same speed. So if you're going 60, your body's traveling at 60 kilometers an hour to fall.
Yeah, and I'm thinking as you say that, on a bike, you'd be falling over your handlebars, which is bad enough, but on a scooter, those handlebars there's not a whole lot there.
No,
So,
the handlebars are small. They're not going to hold you. You're going head first.
yeah.
So if you're not wearing a helmet at that kind of speed, the injuries are very serious.
You mentioned this is obviously not just a problem here. Like, how do you move forward? You mentioned the pilot project comes to an end in July. Will there be recommendations made after that, and to who, and what do we expect might change?
So these are the questions that we have as well, is what is the next steps? There needs to be some regulations. No regulations is worse, because then it's a free-for-all. That was why they created this in the first place. I assume the government has been tracking data somewhere. I don't know where, and will continue this or change the rules.
Does it have to happen municipally or provincially? How would it work?
Currently, it's based on the provincial transport ministry.
Okay.
So it's like the SAC. Like, you can find the regulations on the SAC website, Société Assurance Automobile, and it's currently government regulations from the Quebec government. I assume municipalities, the same way there are municipalities that have helmet legislation, despite the fact that Quebec doesn't have helmet legislation for bikes, municipalities can probably mandate where you're allowed to ride them, because there is the ability to limit the use of e-scooters in certain bike paths even, because if you're on a small bike path or a sidewalk with pedestrians or bikes going much slower with an e-scooter going much faster, it's a recipe for disaster as well.
Yeah, for sure. I wonder, you mentioned there's regulations up there as well. I mean, if the regulations are there and they're just being overlooked or ignored, it almost seems it doesn't matter what those regulations are going to be. We're going to keep seeing this kind of thing happen anyway.
That's part of the problem.
So is it up to police? I guess it'll be up to police to get involved somehow, or have an awareness campaign, or what?
Well, yeah, the police would have, once we have new regulations, so the regulations are set to expire in about a month. Once those new regulations are in place, and they need to be enforced, there needs to be an awareness campaign. I think part of the problem is this is a new issue across the globe, and every jurisdiction is looking at the best way to manage it, and there's not enough data to really say globally this has happened, in this country or that country, and to be able to compare. Every country and every jurisdiction is approaching it from a slightly different angle, so I think the best way to do it is look globally, not just here, and see what's working in different places.
Yeah, what really kind of makes me, you said something really important, is most people, and I think this is probably true for people listening, look at e-scooters and basically consider them toys, and they are not.
Exactly. They're not toys. They're not built for young children, and let's be honest, teenagers are built for, they want to take risks, and they're excited to go very fast. They don't recognize the danger there. And the danger is real. We have a high proportion of patients that are being admitted in our center compared to last year and compared to when we see bike injuries. We had almost 20% of the cases that have come into our emergency room have required admission into the hospital.
Wow. Well, again, we'll wait and see what happens once this pilot project is done. But, at least we're being made aware of this, and hopefully there'll be some rules put in place and some enforcement to follow. Liane, thank you so much for the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Close your eyes, and you can hear the entire world come alive. 2026 FIFA World Cup is on, and you can stream it all live on TSN Radio. From the opening kickoff to the final celebration, every match, every moment. Listen to FIFA World Cup on TSN Radio.
Gives Canada the lift off.
Available on iHeartRadio.